Eamon, Bayern 64% possession but thrashed by Real Madrid.
Yeah.
You argued last week that you felt that Bayern were going backwards under Guardiola. What's your judgment on what we saw today?
I think they've gone backwards significantly, Bill. I think they were a much more powerful team last year. They moved the ball quicker. The style of play suited the players they've got. I think under Guardiola they've slowed down, not just the 2 games against Real Madrid, but the 2 games against Manchester United. Could well have beaten Bayern. And interestingly, Franz Beckenbauer has made the same point, although he's been a bit softer. He said since they won the league, things are not right at Bayern, is what he said. But I think they have gone noticeably backward. He wants them to play like Barcelona played, the fluidity, the total football aspect of it, fullbacks getting forward, not really paying any attention to the defensive side of the game, and that's crept into Munich, and that's bad. They are regressing. Henkes, the guy who was there before, must have been looking at these 2 games and thinking, why? This guy's ruined the side.
Is it the end, Liam, of the kind of ticky-tacky football?
I don't know. Look, Bill, there's no team in the Champions League ever retained their trophy. So that tells you something. It tells you, what does it tell you? It tells you that there are some great managers out there who can figure out a way of beating a great team. Now, Bayern are a great team, there's no doubt about that. They should have won the Champions League against Chelsea 2 years ago. They won it last year, and this year they've got to the semi-final, but they got beaten by a team that figured them out and figured the way Guardiola plays. And that man is Ancelotti, and I think he deserves an awful lot of credit. And they're in the mix. That's the great thing about this competition. And it's like any sport, you know, one minute you think, you know, Tiger Woods is ahead of everybody. Nobody will ever catch him. Nobody will ever be able to beat him. He's going to wreck Jack Nicklaus's records and so forth. And it doesn't happen. And in rugby, these are going to dominate. But it doesn't, because people step up to the plate. And I think Real Madrid have been outstanding in the Champions League this year.
Correct. But John, in many respects, you have the view that Guardiola is the architect of his own misfortune in a sense, because he's got a blind spot in defence.
Well, yeah, I don't think he's ever defended well, Bill. Even at Barcelona, he didn't defend well. But he had a team of players that didn't had so much possession of the ball that the defence very seldom came under pressure. But when they did, they didn't play well. Guardiola, I think, has always had that Achilles heel in defending. With Barcelona, you had the players like Iniesta and they didn't have to defend very much. But when they did have to defend, Bill, they didn't defend very well. But he was a great manager for Barcelona because his philosophy fitted the players that he has. I think he's carried the philosophy to Bayern Munich, but he doesn't have the Barcelona players. So what all the great managers do, Bill, they have to adapt to the players that they have taken control of. And I think that's why that's been the decline. I don't think he's adapted to the Bayern Munich players in the way that the previous
as a consequence of which they were completely out of shape towards the end with their Bayern. What's the future then? Is he in trouble?
He is in trouble.
Guardiola.
Yeah, because if he continues to ask those Bayern Munich players like Muller and you know, they just they can't adapt to that total football way of playing. They are a more sort of conformist, conventional group of players, and he can't ask of them. But the basic things John has pointed out to brilliantly there, I would say, you've got to get right. Unless you have Lionel Messi scoring a hat-trick every week and other things. So I think he will be in trouble, and it may well turn out. You know, we loved that side that he had at Barcelona. We admired him for the way he set it up and everything he did.
Yeah, but the game is up, though. People know how to beat him, don't they?
The problem is he hasn't got the Barcelona players.
In Germany, they don't. He won the league by an absolute mile.
Yeah, but that could be a very weak
German league.
Well, it could well be. It's not. They haven't tippled to Bayern Munich, Bill. There's nothing to tipple to. You know, in Barcelona, you could say there'll be a case for that because they played against him so many times. But this is a man taking a Barcelona philosophy to Munich, and he doesn't have the players to do it.
So is he capable, John, of changing his spots?
Well, we'll have to. I would doubt it, Bill. You know, I think the best thing Bayern Munich can do is get the old manager back again. And let him, because he couldn't have done much better than him. But there again.
But do you expect that Guardiola will be sacked?
Well,
encouraged to leave.
everybody can be sacked, Bill, if they're not doing well. Beckenbauer criticised them.
Tell you something. It might be regarded as gossip. They won the league, as Liam said, by 24 points or whatever. And on the night they won the league, they went out with Guardiola and they stayed out all night. They carried him out of a nightclub allegedly at 7 o'clock in the morning. Hold on. This is what happened. Now. And they kicked on.
Allegedly.
Now, they didn't win another league game. Well, will you let me speak, please? They didn't win another league game. And this is when... This is actually...
They lost 4 games in a month.
They lost 4 games.
3 in 18 months before that.
They did. But the point is this, that I think this is what Beckenbauer doesn't say it, but he refers to them not being right since they won the league, since that incident.
Well, he doesn't say the incident.
Well, it's just...
That's
part of...
That's Eamon's.
It's part of...
Eamon's in the media.
Hold on. You've been in the media for quite a while now.
he fights at that.
All right, okay, hang on.
Eamon,
so Beckenbauer is saying there's a problem.
Beckenbauer says there's a problem since we won the league. And that may be called that. But the point is, if Beckenbauer says there's a problem, but the bigger question is the one John's shown you the picture there. He's got to get things like that right. Otherwise, he will have a problem with his players next season.
Can I just finish with you, Liam? Can he change, do you think? Must he change?
Well, he says he's not. He said he believes in this philosophy, and he said he's not going to change. But, you know, I do agree with John and with Eamon that these are different players that he had at Barcelona.
Right.
You can't continue doing what they were doing last night.
We got to leave it there. That's it for tonight. My thanks to John, to Liam and to Eamon. And the next time we'll see you is for the final, an historic Madrid derby between Real and Atletico on Saturday, the 24th of May at 7 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you then. From all of us here in the studio, good night. God bless.